Hello my friends, and welcome back to another paint with me, except this time I'm doing a tiny paint with me, and I'm gonna go over the supplies that I'm using in this video. So the paint is Holbein brand acrylic gouache. These canvases I ended up finding at Michael's, but I'm sure you can find them in many different places. And I'm using the brushes that I always use, the Princeton brand paintbrushes. So that is today's supply list, and I have some questions that my patrons were kind enough to ask me and leave on my Patreon so that I could answer for this video. So the first question is from Madison, and they ask, what's something you wish you knew before starting your online shop, oh my gosh, / creating YouTube videos? So those are two very different timelines for me, because I actually started making YouTube videos when I was about 15 years old. All my old videos are privated now because I was a tiny teenager, and I kind of wish that I didn't post so much stuff on the internet when I was so young. But yeah, I guess that is like the first thing I wish I knew, is how much being on the internet was going to affect me mentally, and I wish I was just kind of more aware of good and bad consequences of posting on YouTube when I was so young. And then before starting my online shop, I think I wish I knew how much, sorry, Salem just jumped on me. How much trial and error starting an online shop is. It's very difficult to start up because you're doing it all on your own, or at least now there's a lot more people that are doing it, and there's a lot more resources and educational stuff that can help you. But when I started, there was very little information about it, and I just wish I knew how much, again, trial and error it was going to be, and how much I was going to have to like push through and keep going, and how much I was gonna cry out of frustration. But I think I've made it out of that phase of having an online shop now. The next question is from Megan, and they ask, what do you most commonly get your inspiration from? So I get my most inspiration from other artists, but I also get inspiration from vintage items, so like vintage toys I really love. Very old, like Victorian era objects that obviously like the wealthy had, I get inspiration from. I get inspiration from food as well. I do really like drawing food, flowers, and of course cats. I also get very inspired by my own culture, Mexican culture. I, as of late, try to incorporate a little bit more of artist techniques from Mexico into my own personal art. The next question is from Billy, and they ask, what's the hardest thing about having an online shop? I think as of now, the hardest thing is probably packing orders and stocking up on products. So kind of like having to know, oh, is this item gonna sell really well, so I'm gonna have to get a little bit more, or stuff like that. Packing orders is just, it's not hard, it's just more so like time consuming and keeping track of the orders. And people make mistakes when they make orders, so I have to email them and be like, you made this mistake, blah blah blah. So that's probably the hardest part of having an online shop. The next question is from Finlay, and they ask, not sure if you've already answered this, but what do you think you'd do if art / YouTube wasn't your job? So I have thought about this a lot, actually, and I think as far as like before getting my degree type of job, I would probably be a mail delivery person for USPS. I love the idea of just like driving around, walking around, giving people their mail. I don't know why, maybe I'm romanticizing it, but I would really love to do that. And once I get my degrees and stuff, I would like to work in a museum in the art history world. I'm actually working on getting my bachelor's in art history, so yeah. The next question is from Kaylisha, and they ask, if you had advice for someone who wanted to make art their source of income, I can't read today, what would it be? My first advice is think about it, because once art becomes your source of income, it's not that you're not going to enjoy it that much, but about 80% of the time it's going to be for work and it's going to be monetized. So it's kind of like there's not much that's left for you as far as art. So I think artists tend to feel like our art isn't valid until we make like a career out of it and we're able to live off of all the money that our art makes. But I don't think that's true. I think art should be enjoyed and it should be for your own creative expression. So I think, consider why you want it to be your main source of income, and try to have other hobbies that you keep just for yourself and that you don't try to monetize, because like I said, art is pretty much only going to feel like work once you start. Another question from Finlay, and they ask, where would you want to live if you could live anywhere in the world? I think if Mexico was not so dangerous for women, I would definitely live in Mexico. I think that would be like my permanent home. But I would like to experience living in South Korea. That is something that I want to do. And I also want to experience living either in Spain, France, or Italy, and not in like even the romanticized way. I just really want to experience something completely different than like city life in Texas in the US. So yeah, I definitely want to live someplace in Europe and in South Korea at different points in my life. The next question is from Channing, and they ask, what's something that always cheers you up without fail? Definitely cats, my kitties. But I think also my comfort shows. So my main comfort show is definitely Parks and Recreation, my favorite show of all time. And watching Studio Ghibli movies, those just like replenish my soul. And it also would be playing piano, but I sadly do not have a piano in my apartment or a keyboard, but that always tends to cheer me up as well. The next question is from Cressel, and they ask, what's your favorite comfort food / go-to snack? Right now, it's been Skinny Pop microwavable popcorn, like not the ones that already come popped in the bag, but like the ones that they sell so that you can pop at home. I don't know why they are so addicting, but I love it. I also love Haagen-Dazs chocolate ice cream. It's my favorite ice cream. Strawberries are a big one, just like literally just strawberries. And Annie's mac and cheese. I think those are my main comfort foods. Elise asks, most and least favorite part of living alone so far? So most favorite part is probably the fact that I can organize my life by myself now. So a lot of the issues that I had at home was that, I have a full-time job now, but sometimes my mom would be like, okay, well, you need to help doing this, or you need to clean this, because, she has her own schedule, but I also have mine, but I didn't really have a right to my own at home. I was always expected to kind of be doing whatever everyone said, no matter even if I was working. So that's something that I really enjoy now. I'm able to decide when I do laundry, when I clean the apartment, when I do dishes, and when I work. That's the best part. And my least favorite part, I really don't have any parts that I don't like, but my least favorite is probably just, having to hear neighbors. I used to live in a big house out in the country, so neighbors felt like they really didn't exist. So now having to hear people walking down the hallway, or like my neighbors playing music or fighting, that's probably my least favorite part, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. And then Madeleine asks, are there any places you would like to travel to? Everywhere. I haven't been able to leave the country, so I've never been out of the US, but I really want to travel as many places as I can. I want to travel Europe because I'm very into art history. I want to travel Asia because I'm very into art history. I just want to see as much as the world that I can, but I think specific places, like I said, South Korea, I want to visit Japan, I want to visit France, I want to visit Italy, I want to visit Scotland, Germany, and many places I want to visit. Nina asks, do you ever have days when you don't feel like doing any of it / lazy days? Yes, I definitely do. I even had one yesterday. So I typically have like 2 different types of lazy days. So some days I wake up and I feel like I cannot do any creative work, and that's usually times where something happens that took an emotional or mental toll on me. So for example, I hurt my foot really, really bad this past weekend. You know, it's not broken, hopefully it's not fractured, but I hurt it really bad, and I was like limping for a day or two, and I'm still in pain, but that's like something that was a emotional toll on me. So by the time that Monday came, when I started work again, I was not able to do any creative work. So like I wasn't able to come up with product design or paint or draw or anything. So all I did was admin work on those days, you know, answer emails, pack orders, stuff that doesn't require my brain to come up with ideas. And then some days I'm feeling very creatively inspired and I don't feel like doing admin work at all, so I just won't answer emails or pack orders those days. And I'll just really hone in on my creativity and paint, draw, whatever. So yeah, I will have days where I prefer doing one work over the other, and Saturdays are days that I do not work at all. I spend them with my boyfriend, and Sundays are not lazy days, but they're kind of like self-care / reset days. So Sunday is my cleaning day. I will vacuum, wipe down surfaces, put stuff away, hang up clothes, do laundry, and kind of like set up my work week. Clara asks, what are some of your favorite books / recommendations? Well, right now I'm reading Song of Achilles because I'm late to the club. Some books that I always recommend people are the Four Agreements and like the whole series from that author. I cannot remember his name off the top of my head, but I read that whole series within like a week, and his books are super amazing. They're amazing self-help books, and I guess especially because it's tied to Mexican culture, I felt very connected to those books, but I think anyone could benefit from life philosophies that he shares in those books. Next question is from Jimena, and they ask, when and how did you start making art? So I have always loved art. I think as children, we all tend to love art, but I think I started taking art more seriously my senior year of high school, and I started with pencil, graphite. I always liked drawing with pencil and graphite, sometimes pen, but yeah, senior year of high school, I started taking it seriously, and then when I went to college, you know, I got my associate's degree in studio arts. So, you know, there I really blossomed and I really started learning a lot more about art. And yeah, I would say that's when I started getting very into art. And those are all the questions that I have for this voiceover today. Thank you again to my patrons for asking me wonderful questions to answer for this video, and I will leave you guys to watch me paint teeny tiny canvases, and I will see you guys in the studio vlog that's coming this Sunday.